Hey, brewery or small business owner. At the Beer Accountant, they understand the unique financial challenges of the craft brewing industry. Are you tired of navigating complex brewery accounting and taxes on your own? Staying up late working on financials and getting your finances in order after a whole workday? They're a CPA dedicated to helping breweries like yours thrive, with services ranging from qualified bookkeeping, business tax prep, to strategic financial planning. Stop wasting time on spreadsheets and focus on what you do best, making great beer and running a small business. The Beer Accountant is led by Patrick McDonald, a CPA for 14 years. They are also the official CPA of the Brewers of PA, servicing over 50 breweries in 4 states. If you own a brewery or small business, stop overpaying for reactive support and start being proactive with the Beer Accountant. Don't brew that IPA without this CPA. Visit beeraccountant.com to learn how their specialized expertise can help your brewery grow, profit, and succeed. That's Beer Accountant at beeraccountant.com.
Are you a brewer looking to open, grow, or plan your next move? I'm Ted Zeller, liquor law attorney at Norris McLaughlin. I've spent my career working with breweries, helping them navigate the regulations that come with this industry at the municipal, county, state, and federal levels. From first permits to expansion into new markets, my team serves as legal counsel on licensing, compliance, and distribution. If you're ready to plan your next move or need legal guidance, I am here to help. Feel free to call me at 484-765-2220 or email me at tzeller@norris-law.com.
Oh, 12-ounce can. That's actually like kind of frustrating if we're talking about like that side of the business, right, where we're selling cans, is when people come in like looking for to-go beer, they're typically like craft beer nerds and they're not looking for 12-ounce cans, but so few people are like canning in 16-ounce anymore.
Yeah.
So like when I'm like going to order, I'm like searching by 16-ounce to see like what's available in that package size as opposed to 12. Yeah, like a lot of people are just selling in 12-ounce now, and I'm assuming it's a cheaper manufacturing process.
No, it's the same. I think that in my personal opinion, welcome back to BrewedAt Podcast. I'm your host, Richie Tevlin, joined as always by Blum.
Hello.
Tonight, we welcome on Joe Moore from the Craft Beer Store of Springfield.
Yeah.
In Springfield.
Yeah.
So I came to do a tasting with you guys a couple weeks ago, and you told me, I don't know if you would call this, you're a rocket scientist.
I mean, I wouldn't say I'm a rocket surgeon, but I do work in the aerospace field. My other gig is in aerospace, a precision cleaning facility. So we clean a lot of the parts that go into space. We also have some big like thermal vacuum chambers. We do a lot of testing on big satellites, stuff like that. So yeah, I think we initially got that like, oh, like you're into space. Like I've been working in it for a minute.
I'm dressed as an astronaut right now in your bar.
Yeah.
Like we have a connection here. And then you had just bought it. I think that was, the day I was there was the day that it was official yours.
I think it was. I think like we took the sign down the day before, like we closed on a Thursday. Yep. And you were there on a Friday. So yeah, it was pretty cool.
That's cool. So, instantly what kind of wanting to have you on, like you kind of have this unique perspective, like you just bought a beer store, kind of like what that whole experience was like. Cause I'm sure there's people listening to us that have the dream of what you're doing right now.
Yeah, of course.
So let's get through that right now. But before that, let's break into some of this beer. She asked me what I liked before you came over here. I said I like Belgian beers. You brought some Belgian beers for us. So
Did you know he worked for Flying Dog as well?
I just learned like when he was here.
So what is this?
Yes.
Pie Face Ale, Gonzo Pie Face.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm gonna try that.
Awesome. So this one, what is this? This is
the Bacchus Flemish Old Brown Belgian Ale. It's kind of a lighter beer, a lighter for a Belgian, right? I think it's only like 4.5.
Yeah, nitro.
Yep, it's a nitro as well.
On the back, it says shake 3 times, tilt, and then taste it.
Yeah, so they have like a little thing. In addition, like we do reviews on our Instagram and stuff. So one of our bartenders just did a review for this guy. He really liked it, but he's like a huge Belgian guy.
Nice.
That's cool. Is that something new that you guys are like gonna start on?
I don't know how familiar you guys are with like the Breweries in PA, that website.
Yep.
That was the first first place I ever like wrote professionally. I did like reviews for them.
Oh, really?
Way back in the day. Yeah. I mean, I want to say like 2015, 2016, something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, we are going to get them on eventually, but they cannot come out at night. So it's like we've been talking to them, trying to like wind up getting them on here for over a year at this point.
Yeah.
But yeah, awesome. This smells. I can smell it from here. It smells great.
Yeah. Yeah, it's got that like Belgian taste, but it's a little lighter than anything. How's that pie face?
That's good. It's very like it's pumpkin pie. It's very pumpkin pie sort of flavored here.
Okay.
It's not. It doesn't taste like 8%. That's for sure.
Yeah, those are always dangerous, right? Sneak up on
Yeah,
you.
there's not too many new 8%. Like a lot of the new 8% beers that are coming out are just like these juice.
Everything, man, is just like crammed with juice. Like Hazy just kind of took over, and then everyone's like, well, we can just put everything in there.
Yeah,
Get them doubles and triples.
Yeah, just a artificially flavored alcohol juice.
Right, for sure.
This beer is great though. What is this? It's a Flemish brown ale.
Yep, from Bacchus.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, I think the nitro helps it a lot too. Kind of keep it a little like lighter on the palate.
I like that a lot. 4.9%.
Where is Bacchus?
I am not sure. They might be a traditional German.
It says Castile certified. I'm sure that's some sort of like brewed within Kingdom of Belgium.
Oh,
yeah.
nice.
It's awesome. Legit. Cool. So you just bought Craft Beer Store Springfield.
I did. So we're in the middle of a name change. So we're still Craft Beer Store, still operating as, but technically we're Crafty's Springfield. So
awesome.
Crafty's Bar and Beer to Go. So kind of with the name change is a little more of just kind of an ideological change as well. Like Bottleshop says, probably understand they're having a harder time now. The laws have kind of changed the past 5-10 years in Pennsylvania, making it a little easier for wholesalers to sell less than just a case, and so you can walk into a distributor, get a 6-pack. Same with like grocery stores now. So the bottle shop portion of the business we still focus on. We have I just counted today, we have 118 different variations, but in addition to that, we have 30 taps. We have a full basement, second bar area where we host like live music. You mentioned we do the free tastings every Friday. So craft beer is still like a big focus of ours, but we are moving away from being like just strictly a store and takeout spot to more of a bar, where people can come, hang out, and enjoy, tons of different craft beer instead of taking them and going away.
It was definitely, you guys pulled a crowd. It was a Friday night, but it was like there's a large group of people that came in that were excited to kind of drink there and like see what was happening. Have you heard of the Greeks in Narberth?
No,
I think I talked to you briefly about, maybe it was somebody else there, but they kind of do the same thing where every Friday they do a tasting.
Yeah.
And it became this community thing where like, then like 30, 40 people were coming out every Friday. And,
right.
They weren't even announcing it. Just kind of like every Friday people show up.
Yeah, people
are socializing, they're, hanging out with the same people every single week, and it turns into an event. So
yeah,
it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's cool. Whenever you say like free beer, even if it's like a little bit, like people still like, they come out of the woodwork for it. So
the best beer is a cold beer. The second best beer is a free beer.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't disagree with that.
That's cool. You still do you curate the tastings now? Like, is that going to be one of you?
I don't personally like curate it. I have 2 managers that are helping me run stuff, and they kind of switch off. And, one of the best things about like purchasing this business and getting into it, one of the real reasons I got in was the staff that was already there. Like bars and restaurants have like a 300% per year turnover rate. I don't know if you've like realized that or like knew that statistic. So it's like 3 times a year you're restaffing your entire place. The 2 managers I have, they've both been there for over 3 years. I think one's been there 5. And we have another bartender that's actually been there longer. Only works a couple of days a week, but he does all our reviews and everything. Super knowledgeable about craft beer. Been to Belgium, Germany for Oktoberfest. Like, that's his thing. So that was like helped me, make the decision to get in. Like, well, I have a good staff. I have a solid staff. Like, I can get in and do this, with their help. So saying all that, they're typically the ones that curate it just because it's what they really love, what they've done, and they built that portion of the business, right?
Yeah.
So it'd be like kind of crappy for me to come in and be like, well, no, I'm taking this over now, right? Like, you built this up, you got the crowd on Friday, like, yeah, keep running with it,
Yeah, exactly. And then like as time goes, you kind of can like build like with the name change and everything, kind of like put a fresh spin on it.
Yeah, exactly. And I'll do beer tastings. We do 52 a year, right? So if there's bartenders like I can't make it to a brewery to pick up whatever, or then I'll be like, I'll go reach out to someone, see what I can get in, and what we can do.
Nice.
Yeah.
So I guess can we start back from your beginning? So you said that you work for like this, I guess, space cleaning company, rocket ship cleaning company.
Sure, kind of. Yeah. So I don't know.
From LA, right?
I'm not from LA. I lived out there for a while. Worked. I actually grew up in Chester County, right on the border of Pennsylvania, Maryland. All the way down Route 1. If you hit Maryland, you've gone too far. I lived out there. I worked for a company. It was actually a ballistics company, so we tested body armor. I did that for 4 or 5 years, and that company got bought by this bigger company. A lot of my friends jumped shipped, but it ended up being pretty advantageous for me. I ended up getting promoted. Then this really great position in LA came about, and I was like, wow, I could live in California for a little bit. I was living right outside of Baltimore, going to not going to the city often, but just. You lived in Maryland, right? So
yeah.
I feel like you live in Maryland for 3 years. I've seen everything in the state, right? I've got it. So I lived out in LA for 3 years. That's when I got into aerospace and worked as their quality manager, and then transitioned over to the precision cleaning portion. And that's what we focus on. So it's, kind of similar to cleaning beer tap lines or anything like that, right? The only difference is we're cleaning it down to the microscopic level. A lot of our stuff is no particles over 100 microns or something, right? So it's got to be incredibly clean before it goes up into space.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
It's funny, all the connections between space and the beer, and then actually Richie and just space.
There was somebody else there that his son-in-law was the head of information or something at SpaceX.
At our place?
Yeah.
I don't remember who it was, but we do a ton of work.
It was one of your regulars. His son-in-law was the head of something at SpaceX.
Okay.
So,
yeah.
And he was telling me that he was I need to take a picture of you, send it to him.
Yeah, it's a tight-knit industry. And it's a pretty cool industry to work in, right? Anytime you see a launch or something go off, there's 100,000 different moving parts that have to make that launch go. Even just us as cleaning, by the time a part gets to us to get cleaned, we're typically the last thing that part sees before it gets put on a rocket ship and or a satellite or whatever.
Yeah, pressure.
Yeah, right. So a lot of times they're coming to us and it's already gone through drawings and anodizing and everything else. So it's 4 months late getting to us, and they're like, we gotta get it right now. We have a launch next week. I'm like, so does everyone else. Only so many pads. So yeah,
that's cool. So what brought you back to the East Coast?
So I lived out in LA through the pandemic. And LA is just I love LA. It's a great city, but it can be a very lonely city, especially during that time.
Different than Chester County.
Different than Chester County for sure. And it just, I had been out there 3 years. My wife's job was fully remote. I was able to kind of get myself a remote position, inside the same company. It's a, lateral move. So it was we could afford a house outside of Philly. We can't afford a house here in LA. So it was just kind of time to move back. And so we did that, moved back, and, lived here for 3 or 4 years. And this place was, the place we bought, Crafty's, was our local spot. It was our local bar that we went to all the time. We both love craft beer, fell in love with it in Ohio first and BrewDog, and then out in LA. So when we came back here, fell in love with this craft beer place. It came up for sale, and it's well, maybe we could do it. I don't know. Yeah, see.
And you said you were writing for Breweries in PA before that?
I did a couple things for their Instagram years and years ago. And then I ended up doing some freelance writing for entertainment websites and video game stuff. I've kind of done a little bit of everything.
Have you always been, because I know you also have your YouTube channel where you, what is it? Is mostly movies and stuff?
Typically, it's what I'm doing now. I worked I've never had one job. So when I was in LA, I was doing all this freelance writing, and I was really into the gaming sphere.
Cool.
I love video games. After 3 years of that, I was man, this is a lot of work, right? So maybe let's tone it down, and kind of moved into movie reviews and analysis, stuff like that. Yeah.
Cool. Cool.
Yeah.
But you've always been a creator, like as far as like writing and social media stuff.
I think so. I think I've always had like just a creative itch, like something that I've wanted to do. And I mean, even that's like part of the bar, right? Like, it's really nice to get in there and be able to like kind of make a space your own and, create your own kind of things with it. I mean, you do the same thing. Like, I love your guys' can art on Space Cadet and everything. Like, that stuff's sick.
Yeah, I mean, and in your bar, you guys are playing like the movies and everything, and it's very much like a homey feel. Like it feels personable in there.
Yeah, we have like a little CRT TV in the corner. We play like old VHSs. We like to play like music videos on the wall. Some of that's like bar science, like you want to keep people engaged. You don't want people looking down at their phones. So the music's playing, instead of like looking at your phone to find out who it is or checking touch tunes, you can look up at the music video, and then everyone's all looking at the same thing. You're like creating a shared sense of community. Same thing with like a small television, right? It like hits like a nostalgia factor, hits like those member berries, right? We're like, oh man, like that's Terminator 2 is like playing on VHS. That's super cool.
And you have to stay for the end of the movie.
Exactly, right. Like you can't leave right now. You got to get one more so we can see how it ends,
Yeah. So how did like you taking over the tap room? Was it something that you approached them, or they were kind of like looking to sell it?
The owner was looking to sell, and he had it for a few years, was kind of done, ready to get out of it.
Yeah.
So I had been a regular and had like expressed interest in, like, hey, maybe, if you're ever ready to sell it, like, wouldn't hate the idea depending on the price and all that stuff. So he approached me, and he actually approached me at like the beginning of the summer last year. And I knew nothing about the bar industry, right? So I told him, I think it was in like May, and I was like, why don't you let me bartend for you over the summer? Let me see if I like it, Yeah. So I did that. I worked there for about 4 or 5 months, just as a bartender, 3-4 nights a week, some weekends events.
That's cool to like, you can kind of test run the company. You can kind of see where it's at, and it's like you're getting an inside look of like, are you about to take the space over?
Exactly. Like it was certainly a risk, but it was a more calculated risk. I didn't want to just jump into an industry I knew nothing about and try to take over. So being able to be there as a bartender and get to know the keg systems and the POS system and, inner working politics and regular, all that kind of, all the things you don't think about, right? Like you can look at spreadsheets and numbers.
Yeah, like you can go online, they'll tell you like this is where your utilities or your labor percentages should be, but like until you're actually there and you're understanding, like you're putting those numbers to like real world situations.
Exactly.
It's a lot different.
Yeah, you have to have that sweat equity. You have to, learn how to pour a cocktail, right? I was like, I'm not gonna, own a bar if I've never like made a cocktail for a customer, right? So, a lot of that stuff. And it obviously, I learned, I've always loved craft beer, but I learned so much about it, right? When we have 30 taps that we need to keep going at all times, right? Like you're buying 6 to 7 new kegs every single week, so you're trying a lot of different stuff and seeing what moves and what sits and, learning, what your customers like, what they don't like, and, what's going to do well in this season and, all that stuff.
Yeah. And now Evan has been there. I had not been there until I came in.
Okay.
But Evan had been in there before. What do you think what changed? Like, were you seeing stuff like some things needed to change, like the setup of the bar itself, or was it kind of the whole, like you said, like the managers are the same, but it was kind of like keep things running, but was there a big overhaul of like how the store set up or managed?
I would say like the biggest change was probably I guess, like I said, like ideologically, right? Like it was the craft beer store. Now we're Crafty's bar and beer to go. So like the beer to go kind of took second nature. I actually think we have a really great bar. If you were there, right? So the way it's set up in this,
was that already there?
That was already there.
Cool.
And the 30 taps and all that stuff. But the way that bar is set up as an L, where the bartenders in the middle and everyone can kind of look at each other, it creates this like really interesting sense of community, something you don't get at many bars, right? Instead of just like sitting in a straight line, like you can have 4 or 5 people on that corner and they're all like able to,
everyone was chirping at each other the whole time.
Exactly. But we used to have 20 fridges, which would hold about 700 different beers. That side of the business, even, once I got in, started like being able to look at the numbers for the past 2-3 years, that side of the business just really started to hurt come, I want to say like 2022, 2023. The to-go market just is not where it was, a few years ago. And that's fine. It's great for consumers to have other options and more competition. But when, I'm talking about like, well, I can't compete with Acme, and like they're buying 20 cases at a time and they're getting, I don't have the storage for that.
Yeah.
And you don't want people coming into your place that are like, I want Dogfish at 60 minutes. You're like, well, we don't carry that because we can't compete with their prices. Or they come in and your beer is $2 to $3 more a single can. So we removed half of the fridges, started working on like opening up that space in the back a little more to make it, more of a bar space where people can, hang out and have some community, and parsing down like our to-go section has allowed us to focus in on like more interesting beers, right? Beers that you can't just like walk into a right by or whatever.
Like you're not trying to have everything available.
Exactly, right? If you come to our spot, like that, hey, they're not going to have 400 Belgians, but they're going to have 10 really good like Belgians and 6 or 7 really good like barrel aged beer and a decent section of IPAs that I'm not going to find anywhere else, right? So and we do certainly still carry some staples. One of my favorite is like the Stone FML. Like I just love having them. But we're also going to carry random stuff like Bacchus too that you're not going to find anywhere else.
Yeah, it is like a good selection. Like when I was there, it was like you definitely had trimmed it down. Like there were so many fridges, and you were like, no, this is like this is not our business anymore. Like kind of the days of having, like you said, like 8 fridges or single cans is not really sustainable anymore.
Yeah, at one point they had like 700 different beers. The entire basement was all like dry stocks. We would like go get like full cases and stuff. For us, it just wasn't sustainable. So we totally renovated that basement space. We're working on like a stage, but we do bands every Saturday. We have a barbecue food truck that comes on Fridays and Saturdays now to kind of support the bands and the beer tasting and stuff. So yeah, it was definitely just like changing the idea of, instead of being just a craft beer spot where people come in, get beer and leave, now it's, more of a bar and that feeling as well.
Are you guys going to put it in the kitchen?
We are working on that. So we do have like a menu. Our menu is like geared towards hot dogs. We're like a Crafty's dog. So we have like some bratwurst and, German sausages, stuff like that. Running a restaurant is very different than running like a bar.
Definitely. I'm part of running the kitchen.
Exactly. It's really tough. So, we have to have like some type of food just, legally in Pennsylvania, you have to have like a food that's, always being served. So we do that. We have a limited menu of, a few different hot dogs and, desserts, stuff like that to go with it. But as far as expanding into like a full kitchen, I don't know. That's step 13. I'm still on step 2.
For sure.
Right now we partner with this barbecue guy. Like I said, comes out Friday and Saturdays. Yeah. That seems to be like the best option for us right now. So you can still come to us on the weekends and get great food. Even if it's not made by us in our kitchen.
Definitely. So you were bartending there beforehand. Mm-hmm. What do you think has been like the biggest eye-opening thing that you were not expecting from being a bar owner?
I guess just like how much work is, which is like a stupid thing to say. But it was just an insane. The first like 2 months, I was like, oh my gosh.
And what type of work, as far as like putting things together, or just manual labor? You're moving stuff around, you're doing inventory, you're doing just busy work.
Yeah, manual labor, like that stuff doesn't bug me too much. It's more just like there's only so many hours in a day and you have, so many tasks that need to get done. And when you're the guy that gets called for everything, right? Like this gaming machine stopped working, or where's, the sheet for the pool guys, and hey, we ran out of Tito's, I'm the one guy that it all comes to. I remember when I first started my job as a quality manager in 2016. It's like the first time I'd been in a management position. I remember like someone came into my office and they were like, hey, and asked me some question. I'm like, I don't know. And they were like, you're the one that's supposed to know that question, right? I was like, oh no, I guess I am. So it's been like that happening 7 times a day, for the past 3 months. Where it's like, I don't know. And they're like, well, you need to be the one that knows, what this is. So
we're all in this together.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice. And you guys are open 7 days a week?
We're open Monday through Sunday, 3 to 11, Monday through Thursday, and then 11 to 11, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Did you guys have to shut down before you took over, or was it just kind of like turnkey? You guys just kept kind of operating and slowly transitioned over?
No, we didn't have to shut down or anything. So because I kind of built up that relationship with the previous owner, and it takes when we finally, shook hands and I gave him a decent chunk of money in October. He kind of just let me start running it like under a management contract. So he really backed off. And so I have only owned it like officially for like 2 weeks, but I've been operating more or less as the owner since October, kind of, running all the books and, writing checks, all that stuff.
Yeah.
So that helped too, right? That also gave me a good idea of like, hey, before like the ink dries, like you have a good, 4 months of getting into everything.
Yeah.
So.
Have you talked to, you guys already had, I guess, like a group of regulars that were coming in.
Yep.
Have you heard feedback from them as far as, like how things have changed? I imagine because it is like more community based, it's like those types of people like it more.
Yeah. That is like the most difficult thing is trying to navigate like your regulars, right? Because your regulars have an expectation of what this place should be, what it should look like.
It's their bar.
Yeah, exactly. And you come in and you're like, well, we're changing the name and we're getting rid of this. But
everyone change bothers everyone and
absolutely
used to it. So it's like, because it's coming from you, you might feel weird, I guess, but it's probably like, in the long run, then that'll just become the new norm.
I think it helped that I was there for a while before that.
Sure.
That people one saw me like on this side of the bar, right? Like, hanging out, drinking, and then on the other side of the bar, bartending and, like chilling with everyone.
Yeah, you're one of them. Like, you were a customer that then became the owner.
Exactly. So there are things that they want and things that they don't want. I get a lot of questions about the kitchen and about the food and that stuff. And that's where I have to be like, I can only do so much, I can only add so many bathrooms and, parse down our menu as much as possible.
Yeah.
We had 30 taps at one point. The old owner put in like 5 taps of domestics, like Miller Lite and Yuengling and all that stuff, and learning that like our regulars hated that. Like, it didn't matter that you had 25 taps of, weird, interesting stuff. We got Twin Elephant over here, we got whatever over here.
Yeah.
They were like, I hate seeing this Miller Lite on the menu. So like you get rid of that, and then everyone's like, oh, great. Now I got 5 more beers I could try, right? Like I could do 5 flights and get everything. And,
yeah.
What's some of the more unique things that you've had on, I guess, like, or you've seen maybe just at the store since you've been going there? Because the store has crazy selection. That is definitely part of it. Right
now we have like a Dunkelweizen, so it's like a Dunkel mixed with a Hefeweizen. That's like it's really good. I can't remember exactly who
the best beer I ever had. Not the best beer. One of the best beers I've ever had. I think it was Broken Goblet, maybe.
Okay.
I did some beer with Proximity Malt, but they were like, we're never doing this beer again. It would cost way too much money. It was like cocoa nibs and banana that they put in a Dunkelweizen.
Oh,
it tasted so good because there's like those kind of flavors already in it.
Yeah.
And then they added so much in it, and they're like, this beer fucked they've been out with all the cocoa nibs and the banana.
Yeah.
I was like, I was drinking it. It was like, tasted very good, but
yeah. Another thing that we have to, we do get a lot of like odd stuff on. We get a lot of high ABV.
Yeah.
So, and that's different too when you're talking. We still have like a pretty robust like crowler market. A lot of people who are craft beer people, they want to.
we're rather still getting crowlers.
Yeah. So yeah, I wouldn't say we sell more than like cans, but we sell a decent amount of crowlers, especially when we have something like interesting on.
Yeah.
But if we have like a 14% on something like barely barley wine that's barrel aged or whatever.
Yeah.
We want to have that on for crowlers and everything else, but at the same time, like now we're serving it to customers a 14%. You got to watch, like you're basically serving someone like 10 ounces of a whiskey almost. At some point.
Yeah, and it's probably, that's not good for long term. Like you're only pouring one of those versus
right. You got to calculate your cost too, right? It's typically a more expensive keg, but like whoever's buying this is only going to buy 1 or 2, or hopefully, right? If they're on their 4th, then someone's not doing it.
But same thing like we were saying before, like people get mad at domestics. It's almost like if people even are drinking less of it, they just like to see that stuff on the menu.
Exactly. Yep. They're like, you have 30 taps. They should all be something, and we've done well, right? Like, I think it's, you guys had, I can't remember the guy's name, but from Kenwood, who makes the lager.
Yeah.
Matt.
Yeah, Matt.
Sarah.
Super cool dude. And like, that lager is what's going to go on. And anyone that comes in, they're like, hey, do you have like Yuengling? I'm like, I got it in bottles, but I also got this really cool lager that you might like as well.
Yeah.
We keep Garage on as like kind of our like house beers for
The normal Garage or Garage Lime?
just the normal Garage. We don't do the lime. Yeah.
Oh, I like the lime.
Do you?
I do like the Garage.
We have it in cans. So like someone came in and got like a crowler of Garage the other day. I'm like, bro, we got them in the fridge in cans, but you want a crowler, like go for it, man. It's all you.
No, to me, Garage in general, it's not something I would probably even get out. It's more of like a tailgate thing for me.
Sure,
Like, I'm going to a
I think people just love the Kelsey's.
Yeah.
I mean, who doesn't, right? Like, you can't be from around here and not. But it's also a great beer for people that aren't into craft beer that come in and they're like, I only drink Miller Lite or whatever. Like, well, try this. And we also keep Kronbacher on, like their Pilsner. That's another great one to give it.
Super underrated.
Yeah.
Cool bottles too.
Yep. We serve it in a cool glass too. Like, so it's a full like 16.9 actual like German pour and everything. People get one of those. They're like, oh yeah, I'm coming here and drinking that. I'm not drinking Miller Lights anymore. So
Yeah. Do you have there's not many people that have like a very different bottle, and they're one of the people that like to. It's also French beer. There's not many French beers.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
New Belgium, Stone, Sierra Nevada. What do they all stand on? Cascade Floors. Family owned and laying down brewery floors since 1971, Cascade builds urethane epoxy and polyester systems engineered for exactly what a brewhouse throws at them: thermal shock, caustic washdowns, forklifts, and constant abrasion. Cascade floors and walls stay sanitary, slip resistant, and standing for years. With a Philadelphia-based rep and breweries served across 25 states, Firestone Walker, Ballast Point, Russian River, Cascade is the crew that the best in the industry already trust. For floors that work as hard as you do, call Cascade Floors at 503-769-6823 or visit cascadefloors.com.
cool. Awesome. What kind of beer styles do you like? Did you come in and kind of switch up the menu a little bit to your beer style?
Not so much, right? Like I've gone through waves like probably everyone else. Like 2019, I got super into hazies. I drank, tons of hazy Janes and everything else. Now I'm more of like a barrel aged like barley wine person. That's hard to find in kegs anyway. So we have like a decent selection of, the Allagash, Curo and stuff like that. But no, I'm not trying to take it over. I'm a super big numbers guy, right? Like aerospace, all that. So I'm looking at what sells. Like, all right, if this keg's been on for a week and it kicks, like I'm getting 3 more of those because I know that's what's going to go out the door. So
you also have 30 taps, so you can have a little bit of everything.
Exactly, have a little, and it could be a bummer too, right? When you get something like this is really cool and then it sits for like 2 or 3 months. Like, oh man, like welcome to happy hour, little guy. Like, this is your time to shine.
Did you? You said crowlers or something, which is like surprising to me. Maybe it's just like something cool about your store and kind of the set that you have. Have you noticed other differences? Like our 12. Everyone talks about 12-ounce beers are like storming back.
No, I mean we've been all about pints. We haven't. I've seen 12 ounces at some other bars, specifically like craft beer places where they're serving like higher ABV stuff.
12-ounce cans.
Oh, 12-ounce can. That's actually like kind of frustrating if we're talking about like that side of the business, right, where we're selling cans, is when people come in like looking for to-go beer, they're typically like craft beer nerds and they're not looking for 12-ounce cans, but so few people are like canning in 16-ounce anymore.
Yeah.
So like when I'm like going to order, I'm like searching by 16 ounce to see like what's available in that package size as opposed to 12. Like a lot of people are just selling in 12 ounce now. And I'm assuming it's a cheaper manufacturing process.
No, it's the same. I think that in my personal opinion, craft beer, a 6-ounce can of craft beer is the perfect amount of a type of beer. Unless it's like, some barley wine or barrel aged beer, like barrel aged or barrel aged beer, to me should be 12-ounce can, which like historically is not how it has been. It's been the opposite of that. There's larger things. But for me, like a hazy IPA or a Pilsner, like 16 ounce of that is perfect.
Yeah.
But I think people are like looking at the numbers of like they can sell more beer in a 12 ounce. And now that everyone's trying to like switch stuff up now because craft beer is kind of hurting a little bit.
Yeah, for sure.
But I think, in my opinion, like, you know, a high-end craft beer in a 16-ounce can is like, that's the perfect amount of beer.
Yeah, I mean, I bet you make a strong argument for it, right? And I definitely prefer to sell 16-ounce cans than 12-ounce. I also like 16-ounce cans. I have some 16-ounce cans and some like, you know, pounder bottles that I've kept like throughout the year. Like I still have like a Dogfish Head's Bitches Brew bottle from like 2016. That, you know, is gone from Maryland to LA to back to Philly now. Like, you know, they look a lot cooler, you know, having them. I have a couple Pink Boot Society ones from LA. And like a 12-ounce can, it's like, that's could be a Pepsi can. Who cares, you know?
Yeah, it's like most wine glasses bottles are all in the same 750.
Yep.
And I feel like that kind of makes sense. And for me, I just think craft beer, high-end craft beer in a 16-ounce can it kind of just makes sense.
Well, I think you're right. And I think like the places that are sticking with 16 ounce, they are holding a little more prestige than, you know, everyone that's like moving almost strictly to 12 ounce, right?
Yeah, it's almost like
more crushable beers, I feel like, are moving to the 12 ounce.
Sure.
Yeah, but also just visually, I think the brand, like when people switch and they try to do like mainstream thing like that, sometimes the brand loses some, you know, visual, some value to the customer where they're just like, oh, well, they're switching to 12-ounce guys now.
Yeah, I mean, you bring up a great point. Even just like the cultural zeitgeist of like if you're going into a store and you're seeing like this brand is only doing stuff in 12 ounce and this brand is only doing things in 16 ounce, like it does change something in the consumer's mind of like, well, that's the more premium product. They're selling it in a more premium packaging than opposed to
like everything, the little things. When people use like the shrink wrap, like instead of pack text, they use like the shrink wrap plastic things, like. Some people tell me like, oh, it doesn't affect sales at all. I'm like, I judge it. Like, everyone I know when they walk into a beer store, like, and they're beer nerds, like they're not ever gonna get a can that is in their shrink wrap.
I'll tell you a little secret. Like when we get those in, like we'll get a case. You know, we'll get about 8 to 10 of them will go straight in the singles, and the other ones, when I get them in that shrink wrap thing, I cut them up and I grab a 4-pack holder and throw it in the beer like that. Like I'm not throwing that stuff in, in the fridge like that.
Like just a little thing like that. A lot of people, there's some breweries now that are also like their cases, they're putting them in like just non-painted, like it's just cardboard with black ink on it,
right?
Instead of like laminated. I'm sure the bottom line is much better for them.
Yeah,
but I see that I'm like, oh shit, like you guys have kind of like not sold out, but you guys kind of like doing this to decrease costs. And for me, like I do make a note in my head, like I'm judging you right now,
right? Yeah, like how many ways do you like saving a penny, on this, like as opposed to like, and I get it, right? Like there are bean counters everywhere who have their job for a reason, but at the same time, like it is hard to understate like the importance of your brand and how your brand is like immediately recognized by people, right? Like
especially if you're trying to promote your brand as the premium product.
Exactly, right? Like
it's hard to play both sides of it.
Yeah, for sure.
Cool. Have you seen like trends change? I mean, we talk about like, what beers coming out. I asked you to bring the Belgian beers on because I love Belgian beers.
Yeah.
But I think Belgian beers are a great way for craft beer to kind of get back into it, where it's just like, everybody's kind of hazy IPA'd out. And like, what's another way that we can make something interesting? I love lagers.
Yeah.
But at some point, a lager's like the crispier you get.
Yeah.
You're just getting way closer to a Miller Lite.
Right.
Like,
yeah, you can only do so much with a lager. But lagers are one of those weird things too, right? Like I've only met a few people in my life that drink Rolling Rock, but all they drink is Rolling Rock, right? Like if you're a lager drinker and you found your lager, like by God, you're going to die on that. Like, you're going to die on that rock.
Yeah. And I do think that it's cool that craft beer, that we got into like some dark lagers and some other like cool styles that like craft beer was not giving love to.
Yeah.
But I think as an industry, when everybody is now trying to like jam like high-end lagers down everyone's throat, it's like, it's it kind of loses its value a little bit. Like we need to be the premium alcohol product. Yeah, I think Belgian beers are a great way to do that. Where like have flavor and still be a premium product, but like we're not. It's different than an IPA.
Yeah, we have about 5 different Germans on about all times. We don't always have a Belgian on, but we typically always have a Hefeweizen, a Dunkel, the Kronbacher Pilsner, like stuff like that. And what I found is like, at least at my shop, I can only speak anecdotally. Hazy IPAs are still like our number 1 seller. That's what a lot of people
IPAs still surprised. Everyone's like IPAs are dead. I'm like, they're still the
that's what people want. But every time like someone comes in like, I want something like different. You give them a Dunkel and they're like, whoa, like no, it's like malty, and like we always keep like Chimay Blue on tap too.
Yeah.
And that is for like, there are people that are like Chimay diehards, and if we got like the red one time, they'd like freak out and be like, what do you mean you have the blue here all the time? I'm like, okay, whatever. But yeah, that's I guess like trend seeing people change is German beers are typically also at a cheaper price point, which helps a lot. That's what I've been trying to do, is like have a couple beers that are at a lower price point. You walk into a craft beer store and you see 30 taps, but the cheapest beer is $7. Then you have some that go all the way up to 10 or 11, right? Like, I think Chimay is at like a $10 price point for a 10-ounce bore. People are like, why am I paying $1 an ounce for beer? And you're like, well, it's different,
Yeah.
But if you have we have Garage on, that's like always $5. Customers are more price conscientious nowadays.
Yeah.
I think everyone's kind of feeling the squeeze. And Hefeweizens, Dunkel, stuff like that give you an opportunity. Those kegs are typically cheaper than, what you're getting from a Tired Hands or maybe like a more premium supplier. So we like to keep those on as like an option, and people are kind of moving towards those. It's also nice when you can go in and get a, Kronbacher Helles Lager and then go find it in the grocery store, a case of it for cheap, as opposed to, it's maybe $10 more than Miller Lite or something, but it's not $60-$70 for a case.
You have a good spread also with your beers, not just hazy IPAs, or it's like you have like kind of mix of everything. Local, it's not like you're like have only national brands or only local brands. You have like a spread of everything and a bunch of different styles.
Yeah, that's kind of the goal, is we want to have like something like, we want to have something for everyone. We have, cocktails, and we still have all domestics and bottles. But, I think if you're like any type of beer drinker, if you're a Rolling Rock drinker, we had a rice lager on for a long time that people like absolutely loved.
Where's that from?
Yeah.
I do, Dead Flowers, I think it was them that did the rice lager. It was really good, and people loved it. That stuff was great, but that was coming in like people that are like, I would never drink lagers. I'm like, well, try this one. It's got a way different taste, and they dug it,
Yeah, that's cool.
I love rice lagers. I want that to be a thing. I could see that working with Gen Z pretty well. Personal take.
Gen Z doesn't drink, man. That's the hardest thing, right? Is like, we're working a bar and trying to like expand our reach outside of just craft beer people and, get them into the scene and stuff. But we have a CRT TV with VHS in the corner because, we have to cater a bar to millennials and Gen X, because Gen Z is just, they want to stay home and smoke weed. It's a different world.
Yeah, when we talk about this often, there's so many different reasons. I think there was an article of recent too, and there was a lot of buzz going out about it. It's like, the alcohol industry is down like $830 billion in the last 4 years or something. And I fully believe the number, but like the reasoning behind some of it is also like a lot of what Richie talks about, between like, yes, you have weed being legalized, you have COVID, you have Gen Z is broke, and on the other hand, like being Gen Z, I'm 27.
Okay.
But you have like the people in the craft age at this point of time, I would say is like 23 to 28, and that's Gen Z. So it's only 5 years. Everybody else is still well under 50% of like being over 21.
Yeah.
So to me, there's that part of it. Like Gen Z hasn't even really grown into the category. And think about when you started first drinking and having craft, it probably wasn't freshly 21.
Right.
So there's that, and hazies and IPAs scared the hell out of them. So I think there's a lot of all that, and comes back to what we're doing, and like that's the whole point of all this to me as the marketing.
We got rocked in 3 years, and there was COVID, then there was sports gambling,
Yeah, right.
and online dating kind of all wrapped up at once. and I'm seeing like this. Not that I'm seeing it, like there's no numbers to back it, but like I think people are not that it's luster, but it's like everyone's realizing that like they're not going to be the next millionaire by making a huge parlay,
Right.
And like you're seeing a big turn back of like event based dating activities as opposed to just people sitting on apps and stuff.
True.
And the whole weed thing is like in this crazy thing right now where it's like so deregulated that people there's you walk in Fishtown, there's like 3 weed stores, or like this, like at some point this is gonna go away.
Yeah.
So I think that we're just in this weird time that like alcohol is the only thing that's regulated right now.
Yeah.
And at some point, all the other regulations will catch back up and we'll be all right. But
Yeah, I mean, every industry ebbs and flows. I don't know if we'll ever see like the heyday of craft beer, like 2019, where it's like every week, your town had 3 more breweries that were popping up. That was just like the cool, like Instagrammable thing.
But before that, it was like 2007. It was like you couldn't miss. It was like everybody was just making so much money.
Yeah, it was like betting on Bitcoin, right? Like it was, you're just killing it. But you mentioned like all the things, right? The COVID, gambling, all that stuff. It has just changed consumer behavior and like young people behavior. And like you were saying, everything needs to be an event. Like that's like what we have to do, right? Like a Saturday has to be a band, a Friday has to be a tasting. Like used to be, right, when you had a bar, like you were competing with all of the other bars around you. Now it's like I'm competing with people's home, and then when you go out, like I'm competing with this small rectangle that they keep in their pocket that has the entire history of the world, right? And you have the Library of Babel in your pocket, right? So that's what we're trying to do, is create a place that is cool and you come out and like it is a sense of community.
But I think you'll like that. You're giving people what they're yearning, where it's like you're playing old movies, you're playing like music videos, which aren't really thing. It's like old school stuff that like you can go back and you can kind of unplug for a little bit and just kind of be a part of something.
Yeah, I think bars are like super important for a community, for the people around.
Even the government just came out. They're just like, no, you guys need to start drinking a little bit. Like
exactly, right? I've moved all over the place. I worked in different industries. I've had travel for work, and like there's wherever you go, there's always like a bar you can go to, right?
Yeah.
Like that's the one place where you can, instead of like sitting and being like lonely in your hotel room, just go out to a bar for a couple hours and talk with people and have a sense of community, even if it's a false community for 2 hours and you're never going to see each other again. Like some of my like best times were people I met at a bar, we drank till 2 a.m. and then I never saw them again. Like we had the time of our lives. We were best friends for 6 hours, and that was like the perfect end to that story, right?
I
think
think it's
not drinking. If I'm at a coffee shop, don't not say hi to me, but like don't let you just like come up and just start chilling with me.
Right.
But if you're at a bar, it's like totally normal thing to just come up and just start hanging out. Like,
Yeah, exactly. Like get into, I mean,
in the environment where that happens.
I've like joined other people's groups that are bar hopping. Like, you meet at one bar and you're like, this guy's coming with us. I'm like, all right, let's go on to the next spot,
I think the need for that is coming. I mean, I feel that.
Yeah.
Like I grew up in I graduated college during COVID.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's starting to starting to itch. Like I'm trying to do more things outside. And I think a lot of people are like just kind of exhausted with their phones and whatnot. Like
Yeah, you get caught in like these endless hell loops. Terrible. The worst things happening in the world. And, it's terrible for, your self-esteem. It's terrible for your pot, right? Like Amazon, it's just so easy to spend $100 on nothing, right? Like when you can go spend $20 out at a bar and have like a shared experience and something that's real and tangible.
I spent 20 minutes today looking at a lonely monkey in Japan.
Right. Yeah.
I need to stop this.
Yeah, the authenticity I think will come back, and it will come back hard. That's kind of one of the, I think. I have a hope for that at some point, especially with the way that just like the world is moving in AI and stuff. So
yeah, I agree with that too, right? I think people are like super anxious and like hungry for something real when so much of what is happening around them and like on their phones and on TV is fake, like especially with AI, right? Like it's hard to tell what is real and what isn't anymore. But when you're, there with someone like sharing the same experience, like, that's real. It's something you can like physically, tangibly hold on to. I think that's why concerts have like come back in such a big way. Like people are they want to go experience, their favorite songs with a group of people that they don't know, all like sharing in that experience together.
Yeah, that was not just out listening to music now. It's like, being a part of it.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, it's however much money to go see Beyonce in concert, but you're with 100,000 other people that are all like in like this one moment that'll never happen again. And you're all experiencing it together, which is like invaluable.
The Beehive.
The Beehive. Yeah.
So I do want to talk about this. You brought the BrewDog in.
Sure.
You said you were a fan of BrewDog in Ohio.
Yeah.
So you lived in Ohio for a bit?
I didn't. My wife did. I spent a month in Ohio for a work trip.
Columbus?
In Columbus, yeah.
Cool.
And that's where I met her. I met her on Tinder. I was actually like in the military at the time. And so I went out there for like a week or a month long school, met her on Tinder like day 2. And I was like, well, I guess that's just what I'm doing the whole time. So yeah, we like fell in love and we went to, they're obviously big brewery there in Columbus. We went there. They also have like a small brew pub in like downtown.
And they have like a hotel or something there also?
They do. When we
Hotel?
Yeah, and they like serve beer there. It's like, like I think Dogfish has one too, where it's like a beer hotel.
Dogfish Head, they do have one in Milton. Theirs isn't as cool. So we stayed at BrewDog twice, once going out to LA and once on our way back. So the hotel is like in the brewery. So you open your curtains, you can see the big stills and everything. It's very cool. The coolest part about it is when like a week or a day or two before you check in, send you an email like, hey, what are your favorite like BrewDog beers? And when you walk into your hotel room, they have a fridge in the shower filled with like whatever beers you ask. Nice. Yeah, you have like shower beers there. Yeah, super cool.
The owners really fucked that up because BrewDog was a very cool brand, and it's just like they totally pissed it down the drain.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate because it was the cool European craft beer brand. I mean, we just had Mark on who talked about like the European beers.
Yep.
And he was not a fan of like IPAs. They were able to make like a new school brewery in Europe, which is not common.
Yeah.
And they turned it into this international brand.
Yeah. We have like right now we have Burlow's like German IPA.
Yeah.
It's on tap. We had that, and then we had Tired Hands had a Dunkel, I think, or some type of German beer. Like it was, we're like, let's like swap it. Let's see how it goes. The Tired Hands did really well. The German IPA was not, has not been doing as good. I think it's a very good beer, but it definitely is not like a normal IPA. And I think even with the Hazy Jane, like when people taste that, they're like, this doesn't taste like a hazy IPA. I'm like, no, it's definitely more of a British beer. It's a lot more bitter than the typical like hazies, but that's kind of why I like it. It's not like every other normal hazy beer.
For sure. Yeah, it's definitely, I think bitterness is coming back a little bit. But I don't think it's coming back the same way that it was. Like 2014, 2013, it was just like, how bitter can we get this thing?
Yeah. I've had people come in and like ask me the IBUs on something. And I'm like, all right, I don't, look at the can, man. Like, go on Untapped. They'll let you know.
IBUs, diacetyl, there's like a lot of things that used to like drive the craft beer world that like are just not in a lot of people's vocabulary.
Yeah. Yeah. People look at, well, like you said, the can is a cool art. What's the packaging look like? Like that visual is more.
It's great. What is Twin Monkey?
Twin Elephant.
Twin Elephant.
Yeah, like I don't love typically I don't love IPAs. I don't love overly like hoppy beers, but this is delicious and it's a very fruity. It gets a little bitterness, but that's really it.
So I'm love hazy IPAs. Have fallen, I wouldn't say fallen off. I still drink them like pretty regularly. But I think they're not as interesting as they used to be. Twin Elephant, they're over in Jersey.
Yep.
We pretty much always have them on. They have this, they have the Nosh, they have the Full Moon Ritual. Like those hazy IPAs are on like they're on like the Treehouse or the Vale level, like something like that. Like, so I'm really like impressed by what they're doing, like so close and so locally to us.
Mm-hmm. Have you had Farm Truck before?
I don't believe so. It's not.
They're in Jersey.
Okay.
I've had this stuff a couple times. Their stuff is really good.
Okay.
There's some new Jersey breweries that are like fun, like Jersey Forever just didn't have anything.
Yeah.
Now they have some spots that are like popping up that are like really, really good.
Well, they're weird with Pennsylvania with their laws too, right? There's so many weird laws and regulations. You have to do a tour of the brewery. Like that's a like legal requirement is they have to offer you a tour of the brewery.
Before you were like, we have to serve food. They're like, we're not allowed to serve.
Yeah, you're not allowed to serve food. I'm like, okay.
What is it?
Yeah, right. Like super weird. But yeah, I've really enjoyed Twin Elephant, what they're doing. I would say like, I don't know if you guys are like Vale guys or Treehouse guys, but the Vale's like probably been my favorite brewery for years and years.
Yeah.
And Twin Elephant's like kind of coming up like pretty close there.
Okay.
Yeah, Vale's been crushing it.
Yeah.
They're out of Richmond, right?
Yeah.
Virginia?
Richmond. So last time I was down there, I don't know what this was 8 or 9 years ago, but I was down in Richmond like for like a live podcast, and I was like seeing a show, a small show, and that was like the closest place. So like obviously went to the Vale. While I'm at the Vale, I see like a buddy of mine from Pottstown, Maryland, like at the brewery. I'm like, what are you doing down here? He's like, dude, I come once a month and get like 3 pieces and go back home. He's like, this is just like my monthly pilgrimage to grab beer.
Did you stop by Hardywood? Oh man, it's right down the street from there.
It's possible. I drank a lot that weekend, and it's like meaderies and record stores. Like
The Vale's like set up in, it's like an old school, it's like a industrial park.
Yeah.
Like old offices. And then it just like, they popped up here, but it's like kind of like this gridded out area.
yeah,
But there's like a couple breweries down there that are just like killer.
there's some good stuff. There's also the Guar Bar. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that.
Our bar is
Do you know-
very familiar.
So Guar is like the metal band.
Screamo thing.
Yeah, they always wear like the crazy costumes. They have like hold lore, and they'll like bring out like big, paper mache presidents or whatever and chop their head off and blood will spew. But they have their own bar in like Richmond, Virginia, where it's playing their music. It's like
Really?
such a weird, wild town, Richmond, Virginia.
I need to explore it more. I went to Richmond last year, and I'm probably going to be going again this upcoming year.
Oh,
They do a
cool.
beer conference there every year. That sounds like a crazy experience.
Yeah, the Guar Bar is very cool. The Broadberry's super cool. They're a little bar that has live music. Last time I was down there, for that podcast, I won tickets to like a full live brass band that was playing the next night. And it was like, think of a full ska band, with like 10 different horns and everything. I was like, this is like really cool. These guys just exist in Richmond. They brought out like 1,000 people,
gosh.
Yeah, it was crazy for like a local band.
Yeah, Richmond's an underrated city. I lived there for a long time.
Oh, did you? Is that what?
Yeah, for 10 years.
Oh, wow.
12 years old, but
Oh, okay.
but yeah, I've been back a couple times, and it's definitely like it's a very like wallable, cool city.
It is. You said it's very underrated and like super.
Imagine like Mania, but it's like the whole city is like that.
It's like the last like true hipster place, right? Like before it gets like fully taken over by hipster. Like this is where it's actually cool. This is like.
I walked like 20 minutes from the train station to my hotel. And felt completely safe the entire time.
Yeah.
It's like hipster Pittsburgh. Is what it feels
Yeah,
like.
kind of. It's like Brooklyn before the yeahs got popular.
Yeah.
Like it's before, yeah, when it was still cool.
Nice. So you bring on like the Twin Elephant. Are there other breweries that you guys kind of feel like you guys are buying a bunch of their stuff?
We keep Tonewood on
Love Tonewood.
pretty consistently. They're Fuego. We call it like our house IPA.
Yeah.
We're not a brewery. We don't brew anything, but that does really well. I said like Kronbacher's always on. We have Fiddlehead on pretty consistently. It's a decent seller.
Do you get requests from your customers?
The
Where they just kind of like whatever you're bringing on, like that's what they're exploring.
So our customers are typically like they're excited like whenever we have something new, right? Like we have customers that come in like just on Wednesdays because they know that's when we get new beer and stuff. And I do not typically get a lot of requests from them. Who I do get requests from are the people who haven't been in the store in like 3 years. And they come in and they're like, do you have this weird, strange beer that's, only comes in a 17.5-ounce bottle that, the distributor, they sent 4 cases to distributors. And I'm like, no. And they're like, I'm never coming back here. And I'm like, I haven't seen, I don't even know who you are, dude. Like, what do you want me to do? Like,
Did you get any of the Pliny the Younger?
I did not get any of that. No,
They like
Unfortunately.
whoever the distributor is, like kind of like dishes it out to like random people, or it's just like
yeah, it's definitely like a kind of, you have to be in the know, you have to be right there. I'm don't have the clout yet, I guess, in my business, but
Build it up.
yeah, work up that so we can, throw them under the table. Yeah, we're good.
yeah. But it's just very cool that you guys bought a craft beer bar and are kind of like doing your own thing. It's like you said, it's like craft beers down a little bit, but the fact that you guys are kind of like making, I think you guys are doing it the right way, where you guys are like leaning into the old school stuff and leaning into like kind of like making it this environment, not just come in and buy the rarest, coolest, IPA.
Yeah, exactly. We're not, like an underground, like, peddler of super rare beers. Like,
Yeah.
we want it to be like a place where people would come and hang out. And, you know, if you want to come out and have a couple $5 beers, like, come out and do that, right? Like, we're not going to judge, or, you know, we don't have a ton of super craft beer nerd guys that are counting everything. You know, it's a lot of like normal people that just prefer a better beer.
Definitely. Definitely. Awesome. Do you have any like events coming up? I know like you have the events page on your website, but like besides the stuff that's, you know, every Friday.
That's probably the best place to find any of our events. We have a really big St. Patrick's Day party coming up. We're opening up at 8 a.m. We're doing like a kegs and eggs.
Nice.
So we'll have, you know, full classic Guinness pours. We'll do the half and halves with Smithwick's or whatever. You know, I'm sure we'll have some green beer concoctions, you know, some Jameson for people.
Yeah.
But yeah, we want to like open up early, start early. I've, you know, kind of grew up around here and lived in Philly and Delco the past 4 years. What I've noticed is on St. Patrick's Day, people like to start really early and just keep going all day. So I'm like, let's lean into that. Let's like open up for breakfast, you know. So we'll be open at 8 a.m. with kegs and eggs. And, you know, then we have a band playing that afternoon. So yeah.
Nice. Sweet. You're rolling.
Yeah, man.
Awesome. Well, thank you for coming on. And Lou, where can we find you on social media? At the Craft Beer Store?
Yep. At Craft Beer Springfield. On Instagram, Facebook, all that stuff. Yep.
Awesome. Do you want to plug your YouTube channel at all?
I can, sure. At Create Context, if you guys want to hear me like ramble about movies, that's where I'll be hanging out.
Nice. Awesome. And then you can find us at BrewedAt, at the BrewedAt podcast. Subscribe on YouTube. Subscribe on Spotify. 5 stars.
That's my line, dude. 5 stars, please. Thank you.
There you go. And we'll see you guys next week.